we're going to move forward to a topic that automatically gets people to listen. I can't get them to listen to anything about their health. I can't get them to listen to anything about their spirituality. But as soon as I talk about fucking, everybody gets this. Why? Because essentially, that is the universe. We may call it all kinds of derogatory names. We may have words like sex and coupling and intercourse and all of this. All of this is essentially the expression of the Creator. What we have done to it in our own minds, that's the hell that we've created for ourselves. That's the way that we have taken a gift and turned it into our own cancer, our own pyro. But it wasn't us. Because everywhere you go around the earth and you see dark peoples, we love to have sex. We love children. We had many children, so you know we love to have sex. The European scientists have been psychoanalyzing black races and giving us the worst end of it because of his own psychosis, his psychosthenia, and projecting what his sickness is upon the rest of the races. So his sickness and his disgust and his lack of attention based on lack of melanin to the sexual nature and the beauty that sexuality is, and the fact that he had lost the color in his skin, which was that particular part of the Bible that spoke about, and they knew they were naked. That became a kind of a psychosis. When the European began to hate his body, we began to hate our bodies as well. So when you had the church and all of that kind of sickness, have our women wearing clothing and covering up in places where it's hot as hell, and Islam coming up to do the same thing to our women, covering them down and making the human body some kind of sinful apparatus that you happen to be walking around in. Until I came here and I learned Christianity and Islam and all the rest of those, which are not our religions, only bastardized versions thereof our own spirituality. So I had studied many books on sexuality, Tantra, and the one by the Dravidians, Kama Sutra. And this, I guess, would have been a pornographic book back then. But it wasn't pornographic. It was something that was passed along to kings. They taught the kings, because if a king had 12 wives, he'd be dead in about, what, a year? If he didn't know what to do. Because essentially the secret was to, the strength of the king represented the strength of the nation. If you had a king that was drained of his power, then you had a nation that was drained of its power. So, again, one of the things that they took from us is the fact that the whole universe is polygamist. But don't tell black people that today, because we're so Christianized and we're so independent and we're so advanced that we forgot about the fact that our ancient ancestors had this culture for over 150,000 years. But as soon as the Caucasian comes along and creates some kind of anathema called feminism, boom! I'm independent of my own self and my culture. Forgetting that the reason why the polygamy was part of that was not because men just like to have it and that's it. If that's what we degenerated to, then yes, then that's a sickness in men. But first and foremost, there are more women that are born towards the ending of a consciousness cycle than men. And when there is stress, more women are born. This is a proven scientific research. The fact of the matter is today, they tell you that they have more men than women, and that's a lie. The reason is, we're most of us in jail, we're dead, going homosexual, going crazy. And men are insane today. I'll give it up. We're out of our minds. And until we get our minds straight, women are going to stay out of their minds. And they'll stay away from us. If we're not ready to die for a cause, women won't follow us. If you're not ready to stand up as a man, what do you expect from a woman? Problem is, we don't know what the identity is anymore. Those identities that were given to us, handed down by ritual, by rites of passage, we don't know who we are anymore. We are, what? Doctors. You say, hello, who are you? Well, my name is so-and-so, and I do this. What do? You do this. You're a human doer now. You ain't a human being anymore, you're a human doer. We define ourselves through what the Caucasian society has told us. This is who you are. So now our women are pursuing careers rather than pursuing families. Pursuing families is out of the question. That comes later. You get your career first. Not realizing that in the ancient of days, your most fertile time between 16 and 25 years of age is when you had your babies. After 24, 25, you could pursue yourself and do whatever you wanted to do in the society. Raise yourself along that line. But what you've done is given back to the planet. You've raised a generation. You were fruitful and you multiplied. And you were given the benefits, the respect, because you were a parent. We don't have that anymore. We could talk about sex because we're going to talk about sex. But what is sex if the brain ain't attached? It's whoredom, prostitution. It's people going fucking crazy.